A lot of times when it comes to, finding purpose and figuring out who you truly are, is written in the things that you already do, right? Now, if you look at the core root of a lot of your actions, there's a pattern. There's a certain train of thought that you follow and a certain routine that you have. If you unpack your day-to-day routine and look at the things that naturally gravitate to you, the things that you're naturally good at, the things that your spirit just naturally wants to do, somewhere along those lines is part of your purpose. So it can be something. So if you just like journal every day and you write, you could be a writer. If you're somebody who likes watching movies, have you considered reviewing movies, reacting to movies, making movies, working in movies? What naturally pulls your attention? And the moment you start to pick out what's naturally pulling you, it'll be so much easier for you to fall into a flow, because the whole point of this is for you to have no resistance. I'm not telling you that there's not going to be resistance from the outside world, because that's what adversities are for, right? We're always going to have some type of adversities in our life, and that's somewhat inevitable. What if I fail? That's something I've dealt with for a very long time, right? I really went into my entrepreneurship route, I say like 4 years ago. And throughout this whole process up to now, I still have that fear of failure, right? What happens if this doesn't work out? What happens if I can't pay that bill next month? What happens if, just something out of my control happens and I'm not sure how to respond to that? Those are all real things. Those are all possibilities. Now, the key thing is to not let the possibility of a negative outweigh the possibility of a positive. The law of duality. Just as negative as this situation can go, it can go just as positive. Now, it really comes down to your way of thinking, how you're thinking, and your outlook on things. How optimistic are you being about situations? That's like people who go to work, who have a straight 9-to-5 job, but deep down they know they want to do something else. They're studying for something else, or they have an interest in something else. If you were to go to work in a drained state of mind, not very optimistic, you're just kind of flowing through the day, you're going to produce an energy of stagnancy throughout that shift and throughout that job, right? Now, if you were to go to that exact same job, right, but approach it with a level of optimism and control. I am here by choice, and I'm going to enjoy my experience here. You'll be surprised the things that God will align in your life solely based upon the optimism, right? Somebody can walk into whatever location you work at and they're the perfect business partner for you. They're the perfect friend. They're the perfect whatever, right? That person opens an opportunity. That person talks to you and opens your mind about another thing that you can be doing in your life, right? The moment you open yourself up to possibilities, you realize you are not stuck anywhere. You can flow through environments, right? And that's something we have to actually like sit with, because in this society, it's not very normal for people to flow, right? Usually when they get a job, they get, a place to live, they get whatever they feel comfortable with. That's usually where a lot of people stay at, right? I'm not that type of person. Now, granted, I am only 21. I'm about to turn 22 in a couple months. So I cannot say that this is just the end all be all, but my spirit intuitively always tells me these things are stepping stones to continue your elevation. You're not supposed to just stop. I believe everything is ever changing. So if the world and everything around us is changing, we have the ability and the right to do so as well. It's crazy too, because when it comes to fear, a lot of it isn't real. True fear, you only truly feel in the moment. And in those instances, you aren't even in the state of mind to interpret it as fear, because a lot of times you go into a flight response in those instances, right? So majority of the time, we're not even scared of anything. If you were to ask somebody who has the fear of failure, well, what are you scared of exactly? They wouldn't be able to necessarily pinpoint it outside of my bills. I don't want to be embarrassed. Well, why do you care about being embarrassed? Well, I don't know. I don't. Oh, so then you aren't scared. Our mind puts blockages in front of us to confuse us. We think that we're scared of this. Our mind is just putting a blockage right there because we're insecure. You see, an insecurity is real different from a fear of something. A lot of the times we aren't scared of anything. We aren't scared of that because it's what we actually want. Why are we scared of the thing that we're trying to manifest? What's actually happening is we're insecure and we don't feel as if we deserve the thing that we're trying to manifest. So we place a blockage right there in front of us to prohibit us from getting there. Why? Because it's us standing in front of us. That's usually what all of this comes down to, is you versus you in most cases. Am I on the right path? I feel like this is somewhat of an easy question, right? But it takes a lot of work. You know you're on the right path because whatever you're doing is bringing you an essence of peace. Period. That's the simplest form I can put it in. It's either exciting you and bringing you peace or just bringing you peace. Peace has to be a part of the equation. When you're making decisions and you're doing things in your life, you always have to take time to ask yourself, why am I here? What am I doing here? Is this helping me? Is this, aligned with what I'm trying to do, right? And a lot of the times we try to take too much control over what's happening around us. We'll be like, oh, am I on the right path? And we'll start dissecting each and every little aspect of the path we're walking instead of looking like, okay, in my day-to-day routine, is there something in that day-to-day routine that's an exhibit of where I'm trying to be in the future? If you can answer that question as a yes, then you are on the right path. All because you're quote unquote on the right path does not mean it's going to look chaotic. You have to find a sense of balance in your mess. If you're trying to look for like perfect synchronicity, it's going to be very difficult for you to tell if you're on the right path or not, because like I said earlier, adversities are normal. Those things happen. You can't always, analyze every single aspect and everything that's going bad in your life and then make a decision based upon that. Now you can make, you can make educated guesses. If the majority of your life and your patterns is being occupied by something negative and it's something that you can take control of and change yourself, then do that. But those things that just happen, those things that are necessarily not out of your control, but it's your responsibility to do or deal with or, correct, those things are somewhat supposed to be on your path because it's helping you grow. You can be nurturing a seed that you want to manifest in, let's say, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years. But in order for that seed to manifest, you needed to learn a lesson in another aspect of your life. So while this seed was growing, you were correcting, learning, and growing in another area of your life. So when this seed finally spurted into somewhere where you can, reap the fruit from it, you were at a maturity level, intellect level, and a wisdom level to handle that seed. So you can't always look at your path and really try to dissect the nit and gritty of it because you don't know what lessons are being learned in those moments. The best thing that I can say is keep a sense of self and remember your why, remember your purpose, and always try your best to do the things that you know you need to do or want to do. Because the word need is subjective too. We place a lot of false responsibilities on ourselves. Make sure you're taking time to do the things that you want to do. And if you're doing the things that you want to do, naturally your needs will shift because your routine is shifting. It's all about how you're spending your time and the energy levels and your level of optimism while you're spending that time. While you're going through adversity, keep a clear head. Be like, it'll pass. Say something will happen. It's for my greater good. I don't know how, but it's for me. And trust me, you will see the other side of that. And you will see why you were on the right path at the right time. Motivation. That comes down strictly to your why. Whenever I'm, getting close to burning out or getting just close to quitting, my why will take over. It's very hard for you to lack self-motivation, because that's very big, right there is self-motivation. If you have to look outward for your motivation, it's going to be very, very, very difficult for you to maintain that constant train, right? Now, of course, you need to surround yourself with people and individuals who can help you stay motivated. And that's what good friends, that's what good family, that's what loved ones are for, mentors, all that other type of good stuff is for. But when you're self-motivated, it's your mind and your spirit telling you, my mission is not complete. You don't need motivation for you to know your mission's not complete. But motivation can be something so small. You seeing a TikTok on somebody's on your feed or something like that, that is so minute. The motivation needs to come from truly in here. It needs to be like something's not settled in you. With me, my motivation comes from, and it's kind of sad to say this, but either trauma, me trying to, right or wrong, or trying to like mute or numb an emotion, or anxiety. When I have really bad anxiety, that's usually my spirit telling me right then in that moment, you're not doing something right. When I get hella anxious, I start asking myself, do I need to conserve my energy, or do I need to exalt my energy right now? Because it's asking me to do one of the two. It's an energy thing. If I'm really anxious and I ask myself, do I need to hold my energy? That's because somewhere around me there's an energy leakage, right? My ability to operate is being pulled. So I have to conserve my energy. That's how I stay motivated. I need to conserve. But in other aspects, when that anxiety is telling me, bro, you're bullshitting, or bro, you're slacking, bro, move, bro, you're not doing the right thing, bro, stop doing what you're doing right now and go do this, because you're not going to stop thinking about it until you go do that. When I get that type of anxiety, that's also fuel for motivation. Motivation can really, come from wherever, however, and it's solely based upon you. What do you want to fuel action? Because that's the end goal. You just move, do something. It's the raw action. Now, however you get to that raw action, figure it out. That's on you. Go for a walk, do something. You feel me? But the end goal is to do something. Nothing happens until you do something. How do I define success? Many aren't sure what success truly means to them. Is it financial stability, personal fulfillment, societal approval, or something else entirely? Success is doing what you said you were going to do in the simplest form. Very simple. If you said you were going to be happy, right? If you said you were going to, start a business, if you said you were going to start that family, if you said you were going to believe in yourself, do something, and you set out to do it and you did it, that is success. Success isn't tied to a monetary thing, a lifestyle, or it's not tied to anything, because the word success isn't real. That's just something that we've made up to kind of categorize an emotion. Now, what sparks that emotion in different people will vary. Some people could get $1 million today and feel like they're very successful. Some people could get that same $1 million and be like, bro, I didn't even ask for this. That doesn't help me do anything, right? The things that I want in life, I can't pay for. So that bag didn't help me at all. You feel me? So when it comes to defining your success, it's being clear on who you are and what you want to do. What does that life look like? The success should be shown in the patterns, not the end goal. If you want to be, let's say you want to be this amazing, famous podcaster, right? You want to be a radio show host. The success is in you starting the podcast, doing the radio show. Because in that instance right there, you're doing what you always wanted to do. You were successful. Now, walking along that path, you were going to get more fruits, more adversities, more failures. You were going to get more of everything. But the end goal is that you were doing what you wanted to do. Now, if you attach the monetary goal to it, I want to be a radio host and make $1 million. Okay, so then your level of success is somewhere else. Somebody else may already feel successful with doing half of the stuff that you have done. You see, it's all based upon us, and that's why I always say it's me versus me, it's you versus you, and you have to be clear on you, reflect on you, practice mindfulness, and just love yourself, y'all. When y'all start believing in yourself and truly valuing the things that you want to value, your day-to-day life will change, your routine will change, your mind state will change, and everything else. I love y'all, man.